Go.
Good morning, CSL Eugene. This is Maggie Covarrubias, and I'm so grateful to be part of the service today. So right now, in this moment we get to spend together, I invite you to take a deep breath and release it. Let's release any cares, any worries, anything during the week that's distracting us. Feel that concern or worry or busyness. Just feel it slip away. Let's take another deep breath. Release it. And feel right now in your heart that you are present with the divine, that you are one with the divine. As we share these sacred moments together, know that that power of love, that power of light and life transcends all. We are not apart. We are joined as one. And while we can't hold hands, we're holding each other's love. We're holding each other in our hearts. I recently read a poem by Dr. Palmer that I'd like to share with you before we go into our meditation. And it may seem a little odd because it's going to talk a little bit about winter. It's called Welcome Home. Alone in the alien, snow-blown woods, moving hard to stay warm in zero weather. I stop on a rise to catch my breath as the sun, setting through bare bone trees, falls upon my face, fierce and full of life. Breathing easy now, breathing with the earth, I suddenly feel accepted, feel myself stand my own ground, strong, deep-rooted as a tree, while time and all these troubles disappear. And when, who knows how long, I move on down the trail and find my ancient burdens returning, I stop once more to say no to them. Not here, not now, not ever again, reclaiming the welcome home, this welcome home the woods have given me. I invite you now to come home. Come home to that love that is within you. Come home to the divinity that vibrates in every cell of your being. Come home to the knowledge that no matter what the outer circumstances dictate, we are always one with God. We are always loved. We are always gently embraced as a child in their mother's arms. We are well. We are safe. We are as one in this world that's filled with love and life and light. Just as we don't always see the sun when the clouds are out, we don't always realize that that love is here within us, around and about us, in every moment, with every breath that you take. So I invite you again, release it. Know that you are home. And as we go into silence now, knowing that home, knowing that light, knowing that life that resides within us, about us. We know that we are held deeply, completely. We are home in Spirit's love. So we enter the silence and know that we are home. Now I invite you, as you're able, to gently bring yourself back from your meditation. I know that in many ways, like those trees that spoke to Parker Palmer, I am rooted in my love and light. The divine provides me with those deep roots, holds me and whispers to me, all will be well. I know that we are blessed, that miracles unfold in the quiet moments and in unexpected ways. We need not fear, for we are always, always having love, always surrounded by love and light. And as I end this meditation, I know that I'm part of that love and love. I share that joy. I share that love with others. It's our birthright. It's in our spiritual DNA. We are loved. We are light. And all is well. And so it is.
Oh, thank you, Maggie Covarrubias, for being with us today and doing that beautiful, beautiful, peaceful meditation. Hi, my name is Linda Finley, and I am the Spiritual Director at the Center for Spiritual Living Eugene, and I am delighted that you could join us today, whether you are here live right now or you're watching this at a delayed broadcast. You are welcome. Center for Spiritual Living is a New Thought spiritual community. We are part of a larger organization known as Centers for Spiritual Living that is worldwide. And we are part of the New Thought movement, which believes that God is in and through all of creation, and that everyone and everything is sacred and deserving of our respect, our care, and our nurturance. So we welcome you here wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Our premise here at the Center for Spiritual Living Eugene, why we do what we do. We followed Simon Sinek's book for a while and came up with a why statement, which is why we do what we do. Yeah, this is what we do, but why do we do that? And our why statement is we know spiritually empowered people live richer, fuller lives. We do what we do because we know that. So our work is to inspire minds, open hearts, and empower lives using the principles of this teaching known as the science of mind, because that's what we want to do. We want to help all people live richer and fuller lives. We are each week sharing one of the principles from our Declaration of Principles written by our founder, Ernest Holmes, almost 100 years ago. And each week we read one of them to attempt to get a sense of sharing what it is we believe with one another. And this week, it's principle number 10, and it's spiritual healing. We believe in the demonstration of healing through the power of the mind. Our mind is our connection to the one. That's where our higher self resides, and in that connection between our mind and our heart. And that's where we are working with the infinite in all that we think, say, and do. I would like to invite our practitioner, Maggie, back to do an opening treatment to set the tone for today's. And there she is. Hi, Maggie.
Hello. Thank you, Reverend Linda. I invite you all to take that deep breath again. Release it. I'm going to say an affirmative prayer, which is a prayer in the first person because we are all one. I know right here, right now, in this sacred moment, with these sacred loving souls, virtually and truly with me, that there is a power of love and light and life that surrounds me, that embraces me, that is with me with every beat of my heart. This power, this presence is God. I am one with God. And I know that that presence, that love, that light is benevolent, is all powerful. It transcends all. And I know that it doesn't matter if I can't be right here looking at each person, because we are joined as one in our hearts. We are together in our love. And I know today that that power of love and light says yes, always yes. And so I say yes to hope. I say yes to love. I say yes to light. I say yes to healing and a world that indeed works for everyone. I know it is coming about, for Spirit says yes, always yes. And I know as we share these sacred moments together, the inspirational talk, the lovely music, and that love that we can feel together, that this service blesses us, blesses our community, and ripples out and fills the world with love and healing. I'm so grateful to be with you today. I'm so grateful for the love and the faith that we share. And I know that all is well and that we are indeed blessed. And I affirm these words by saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie, as you know, was a practitioner here, and she's down in the Medford area now. But because of the beauty of technology, we are now able to expand and include people who moved away. And also want to thank Hulda Crocker, who is here today learning about how we do this. She drove up from Roseburg to be with us. So we are expanding. And if you are interested in becoming part of these virtual services and learning how to do camera work or how to do the behind the scenes computer work, there's always a place for you here. So contact our office and let us know that you're interested, and we'll set you up to train you. And you can come in once a month and give us a hand. So thank you. And thank you, Hulda. We have a practice each week where we do an affirmation. And I'm going to ask that the affirmation screen come up now. We have a brand new month, so we have a brand new affirmation. And I'm going to read it through once, and then going to ask that you at home read it with me the second time. So the first time through, just listen to it. Just let the words flow over you and see where they land in you. And see, maybe even notice if there's some resistance, and just observe it. Don't fight it, just see it. The world of effect has only the power I give it. When I face what is in front of me, I remember I have the power to create the change I believe in. So let's take a breath and think about that. And then wherever you are, feel free to join with me. The world of effect has only the power I give it. When I face what is in front of me, I remember I have the power to create the change I believe in. And that's the other truth of our teaching. Our first truth is that God is in everything. God is everywhere and all around us. And the second part of the teaching is, and because that is so, it dwells in us, and it is always saying yes to what we think, to what we believe, to what we focus on. So we're asked to focus on what it is we desire rather than what it is we fear. It's Labor Day weekend, and now more than ever, I think we really are aware that it is the workers of America who hold America together. Right now, we are relying on the people who are in the trenches, who are behind the cashiers and who are stocking the shelves and who are handling the situations in emergency rooms, in doctors' offices. They are the people who this weekend is meant to honor. It isn't the great money. It isn't the great companies. It isn't the great power that fuels this nation, that fuels the world. It is the people doing the work of holding one another up, caring for one another, of serving one another. We're the glue that creates society. So wherever you are, whether you're retired now or whether you're still working or whether you're between jobs, you are honored. You are special. You are someone who matters, someone who has always mattered. Thank you. And now I want to set up for our beloved Christy Snow, who was going to do the women's retreat this year, and she's going to be doing it next year. But she sent us some videos so that we could have her music with us today, and I am really, really delighted. So I'm going to ask Liz in the tech department to get this set up so we can all listen to Christy Snow now. Oops.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Eugene. It is so good to be with you all, albeit virtually. It's still great to be with you. I'm sending you much love from Charlotte, North Carolina. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust, and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust, and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust, and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
Oh, not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. I hadn't watched the video before, and it's just so good to see Christy's face and hear her voice, and to be reminded I'm doing work right now, and I invite any of you who are interested. We're doing work on imagining what the center could become in the next 50 years, what spiritual community looks like moving forward. And it's deep spiritual work. It's not your straight up visioning with taking my idea and expanding it or visualizing. It is about unknowing, attending, and surrender. And it's not surrender as in giving in and giving up everything you want. It's the kind of surrender Christy was just thinking about. The trusting and knowing that as I surrender, I am falling into the arms of love. Because if God is all there is, if what I believe is true, if what we believe is true, if God is all there is, then all there is love, even when it's cleverly disguised not to look like that. Even when it's disguised to bring up our greatest fears. Now, I don't know about you, but I have, over the past, say, 6 months, for an odd number, had plenty of reasons to feel fear, have had plenty of reasons to feel frustration, have had plenty of reasons to not trust that surrendering would be the right thing to do. And yet my faith keeps calling me back. My faith keeps reminding me. My faith keeps telling me that when I face the fear, it shrinks. It condenses. It's only running from the fear that gives it its size. There's even a story about how, you're seeing the shadow of the dragon, and so you run from the shadow, and as you run, this shadow gets bigger. And what you then discover, and when you turn around, is this tiny little lizard standing in front of a giant floodlight. It's casting a huge shadow, but it's not that big. So these times of unknowing can really be unsettling. And I want to share a couple of quotes with you from two really rather disparate people, one from Mark Nepo and the other from Madame Curie. From Mark Nepo, feelings of fear, worry, regret, disappointment, and grief are natural, wise teachers unto themselves. They are only debilitating when we refuse to let the rest of life in. So in other words, when all I focus on is my fears and my worry, they can be debilitating. But when I realize that my fears and my worry are just one part of a huge experience in life, I can put it in perspective. Years ago, Dennis Merritt Jones gave a talk at a Silmar, and he gave us all a little balloon ahead of time and said, don't blow it up, don't tie it in a knot, don't do anything. And you're sitting in a room with 1,000 people, okay? And he says, okay, now everybody blow up your balloon, but don't tie it, just hold it shut. So we blow up our little balloon. It's only about, 6 inches across. Now hold it out at your arm's length. And what do you see? Well, you see the whole room with one little tiny bit of it blocked by the balloon. And he's now slowly move the balloon closer and closer and closer till it touches your nose. This is your fear. This is your problem. This is your doubt. As long as it's out here, you put it in perspective. But when you bring it up and it blocks the view of everything else, you don't see anything else. And then he said, now what I want you to do is all at once at the count of 3, we're all going to let our balloons go. Well, and we did. And if you can imagine the sound of 1,000 balloons flying through the air going, it was pretty funny. And it was one of those images that's stuck in my head forever. And so when I find myself backed into a corner thinking that everything is horrible and the whole world has gone to hell in a handbasket, I realize I'm holding my balloon too close. And I need to let it out. And then from Marie Curie, nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Now this reminds me, this fall, later this fall, towards the holiday season, I'm going to be doing my shadow class over again. But I'm really, really called to the work of the shadow. We have a tradition of Dr. Holmes said, turn away from the problem and turn towards the solution. But he didn't say, pretend the problem isn't there. He didn't say, don't fix it. He didn't say, don't acknowledge that it's there. He said, don't worry about it, move towards something else. And what I want us to do is be aware that when we do the work of facing our fear, it shrinks in size and we learn from it. It is to be understood. We need to understand more so that we can fear less. Every time I have an emotion triggered, 99 times out of 100, it is not about what's happening in front of me. It is because it is reminding me of something I still need to learn from. There is something in me that I need to learn about. There is something in me that I have not yet resolved, that I have not gotten all the juice out of yet. So it's not drudgery, it is learning where my power lies. In the Robert Scheinfeld class, we talked about every time you feel a deep emotion, what you're really getting is a little beacon going, there's power here, come get it back. It's a place where I've given my power away. When I face my fear, I can pull my power back. Fear is a belief that there are 2 powers instead of 1. Fear is a belief that there is something other than God. Fear is a belief that life has traps and tricks. And really those traps and tricks all live inside us. Dr. Holmes has said, fear is simply faith misplaced. We all have faith. We think, oh, well, I really don't have much faith. I don't have faith. Yeah, you do. You have faith in things. You have faith that it won't work out. You have faith that the system is broken. You have faith that this is wrong. So you have a faith. It's just not in solutions. It's in problems. So all we're being asked to do now is move our faith from that which we fear to that place where we can surrender and fully trust that we're falling into the arms of God. Again from Mark Nepo. And I get caught in this, especially, as spiritual leader, spiritual director. I convince myself I should have the answers. I convince myself that there's an urgency in things. And Mark Nepo has said, basically, unless somebody is bleeding or can't breathe, it's not urgent. Or maybe the building's on fire. There are very few urgent things going on in the world. While much is important, very little is urgent. Understanding this is the threshold to peace. For while surviving demands a great deal from us to get from day to day, being alive asks nothing of us. Stripped of our urgency, being alive is its own reward. So I'm not saying there's not stuff out there that doesn't need to be worked on, that doesn't need to be fixed, that doesn't need to be learned from, that doesn't need to be replaced. What I'm saying is when it blocks my ability to think, right before the service here, I've shared Google Drive files with people for a couple of years now. I've done it easily. I totally went blank. We realized we didn't have Christy's videos. I went blank. I went in there. I tried to find it. I finally got them. I tried to share them. I couldn't find the spot because I wasn't thinking. I was fearful because it was urgent that I find this. Fear does not help us think clearly. I just want to let you know that. When we stop and take a deep breath, we discover that, oh, I know how to do this, it's done, and we got it done. But it's intriguing to me how I can back myself into a corner, be sure that I have just messed up the whole day, make everything wrong, and I'm doing a talk about fear and faith. Wonder how that works. How can I? Well, those who can't do it teach it, so I guess that's good. All right. So what I want to share is the idea of faith. This whole month, the theme is facing our fear, and the Science of Mind magazine this month, which has fabulous daily guides by Jane Beach. We have a few copies in the office. If you don't have a subscription, you can come by the office Monday through Wednesday and pick up a copy. But it's facing the fear, but the whole set of talks all month long are about faith and how we build our faith and how we build our faith muscle and how we move from faith in things we don't want to faith in things we do choose to believe in. We are told that faith moves mountains and faith without works is dead. So faith is not an inactive thing. If it's moving mountains and it's got to have works to be alive, faith is an active thing. It is also active evidence of spirit working in our lives, of the infinite, the divine energy working in our lives. What we like to remember is that the universe is always saying yes to us. Yes, my beloved, yes. Absolutely, my beloved, yes. So if I spout off about how awful things are, the universe is going to say yes, and it's going to point out to me more ways in which it's awful. And if I get caught into a place where I can't say I know everything is wonderful, I can say there's got to be a way to get through this. There's got to be an answer for this question. There's got to be a way for me to have something new to do here, for me to know what's the right thing to do. And you know what? The universe will go to work finding that way for me because it knows there's. My ego won't even fight it. My ego will go, yeah, there's a way. I'm sure there's a way. Let me look into that. And so what we have to do is be aware of the idea that we are the ones putting the focus of our camera on what it is we're working towards. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, faith is taking the first step even when you cannot see the entire staircase. It has been said you don't not think about something by saying, I'm not going to think about that. So for instance, if I told you not to think about pink elephants, I'm pretty sure right now all of you have pink elephants dancing through your head, and no matter how you try to say, no, I'm not going to think about those damn pink elephants that we're talking about, there are pink elephants now, there's a batch of them, and they're dancing pirouettes on the stage. But if I turn around and I tell you about the day that I was driving down from Petaluma to Asilomar, it was a Sunday morning at 7 a.m., and I'm coming through the freeway, and you go through this big tunnel right before, as you leave Marin and head out to the Golden Gate Bridge. And just as I come through the tunnel there's fog below, and the peaks of the Golden Gate Bridge are shining in the sunshine up there, and it's just the most magnificent, breathtaking thing you've ever seen. It's like a postcard, and you haven't thought of a pink elephant. Because I gave you something else to think about. So if I want to change what's going on, I have to not just say, I'm not going to think about that anymore. I have to give myself something else to think about. And so I want to ask you if you think we can have faith in something that has not yet happened. Can we have faith that there's a world waiting to be born right now? And in the words of Valerie Kaur, our work in birthing this world is to breathe and push. That right now, this is our work. And I want to share with you a piece from our vision, Centers for Spiritual Living, the entire organization, not just this organization here. When we created this new organization a little over 8 years ago, we spent about 4 years before that grounding it. We set up an organizational design model that had specific things that we wanted to do, that we chose to do, that we chose for this to be. And we set up in there a vision, not just a simple vision statement, which is a world that works for everyone. That's our simple vision statement. But we set up a full-on vision, an inclusionary vision. And I would like to share that because this is going to be kind of like a meditation at the end of the talk. But what I would like you to do is think about the fact that this is what we are moving towards. We are stepping out of fear and into a faith in this world, and we are breathing and pushing to give this world new life. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we're called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and judgment. Justice. Ooh. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. We envision a world which has renewed its sense of beauty, has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't find a lot to argue about with that vision. I would like to trust that vision is unfolding as a reality. And so I would act as to move towards faith, not as a feeling, but as a choice to trust God, Spirit, life, to trust that essence, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. I've said this a few times in the last few months. This is a graduate course in uncertainty, in realizing that the truth of the matter is the ground under us is always moving. The road ahead is always uncertain. It's just that normally these disruptions are fewer and farther apart than they have been of late. And they're not generally cosmic and global. But the truth of the matter is, the only moment I ever have is now. The only place I ever am is here. The only person I can ever have any hope of changing is me. And when I do that work, the world in which I live begins to shift because I see it differently. I suddenly have different expectations because my vision is of this coming to fruition. And then I know what my next step is. And my next step isn't your next step. And your next step isn't her next step. And her next step isn't his next step. We are all individualized centers of the one. We are all individual ways of being God in expression. And so just because somebody isn't doing what you're doing doesn't mean they're doing the wrong thing. There is something amazing trying to happen right now. We're in that glorious field of chaos right before the order takes shape. I choose to see an order of love and justice. I choose to work towards and be moving towards the order of love and compassion. I invite you to find what your path is. And as Susan Jeffers said years and years ago, feel the fear and do it anyway. Thank you for being with us today. I'm going to now ask Maggie to come up. We'll bring up the information about the offering, and we're going to have a blessing of the offering, and then we're going to go into Christy's second song. Love you, Maggie.
Love you too, in this community as well. As I prepare to give my offering, whether it's a check or I'm going online and clicking donate, I know that divine love expresses through me, that I create a source of abundance that is infinite, and that the universe says yes. Yes to prosperity for me. Yes for prosperity for this loving community. And yes for prosperity beyond and into the other communities around us. I know that we are divinely guided and divinely blessed as we give our time, talent, and treasure to this community. We are love. We express love. We give abundance and we receive it. And so it is.
Good morning, Spiritual Living Eugene. It is so good to be with you all, albeit virtually. It's still great to be with you. I'm sending you much love from Charlotte, North Carolina. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender to the arms of love, I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
Well, the song's good twice. Anyway, we have, that means we've got two more songs that we can do at another time. It's time now for the announcements. And I also just wanted to comment and have everybody look at the beautiful display on the altar that Nancy Fisher did. It really is quite autumnal and lovely, and I appreciate Nancy coming down here every month and setting things up, so there's some feeling that things are more or less normal. So as soon as we get the slides up, I can start talking to you about them. I know the 50th anniversary is to be determined. I'm teaching a class starting this week, Wednesday night at 6:30 or Friday morning at 10 a.m. You can take either one. It's not a both, unless you want to take it twice. But if nights work better for you, you can do Wednesday night. If mornings work better for you, you can do Friday morning. It's creating a new mindset, and it uses a tiny little book by Emmett Fox, a little booklet actually called the Mental Equivalent. But it's the booklet itself, we're barely going to touch on it. Like I said, it's only 44 pages for the whole thing. We're going to be doing 5 weeks of in-depth work on changing our mind about what it is we think we believe. Right now, we've got some pretty messed up mindsets. I don't know about you. Okay, I got a pretty messed up mindset that really could use some tinkering and working with. And so I'm very excited about doing this class. It's $145 for the full 5 weeks, and you get a workbook along with it. So please let me know by contacting the office, or get last week's newsletter, or look at our Facebook page, and you can click on the link and register for it that way. It's 5 weeks, $145, great deal. Then starting next Saturday, a week from yesterday, Angela Alcantar is going to be leading through the middle of December a Saturday evening book study called on the book Me and White Supremacy. It's 14 weeks, and this all across the nation, our centers are doing book studies on this book so that we can learn how to be the change that we would like to create in the world. We may think we're not taking have had advantages, and yet when we look at things, we discover, oops, yeah, I do. So good self-knowledge. Also, Angela's going to be teaching, there's going to be a new membership class, and I've got it down to probably going to be Thursday, the 24th of September, in an afternoon setting. So if you are interested in becoming a member, if you're not already a member, and you'd like to be a member before we do the annual meeting, be watching the newsletter, and we'll have a link for you to sign up for to attend that. Then Angela's doing an online class with the home office called Self-Mastery that starts in October. It's 6 weeks from October 1st through November 19th, or 8 weeks, pardon me. And that's going to be on Thursday evenings, and we'll have a link to that in the newsletter as well as on our Facebook page. And then, as if you didn't have enough, Mondays, October 5th through December 7th, Angela's doing a book study on full body presence. And there'll be more information about that in the newsletter and online as well. So I thank you for being with us today. I thank you for being part of this worldwide community that we are in. I thank Michael for sound. I thank Liz for the computer back work. I thank Dale for just being here and doing everything, and Holder for coming and learning today. Nancy for the altar, and you for being here. And thanks, Julie, for sticking your nose in and having a seat with us. I miss you guys. And if you sign up for classes, at least we can link up through Zoom. And also consider becoming part of one of the groups that's visioning the new way we're doing things. This is a deep spiritual practice. It's called discernment, and it's doing the work within us as to what it is in us that wants to unfold now. So I'm grateful, and I'm very optimistic about what this center is becoming, and I am glad you're a part of that. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you soon. Take care.